video for Wednesday the 23rd of October. So I had a job booked in from yesterday when I was in my diocese bed. I've got a job from Corby to Margate, and I was really not sure about whether to do it or not before I bid. What persuaded me to do it was that in the notes it said that I was able, whoever was able to co-load on the way down. So the job was for a short wheelbase van. It was about 158 loaded miles, 158. And I was 35 miles from Corby, about an hour for this morning. And so I bid 160. And then when they called me, I did say to them, I've read your note, and my plan is to go to Corby first thing. There's a 2-hour window between 9:30 and 11:30. So I'll get there for 9:30, I'll load up and then have a look for another job taking me to London on the way to Margate. And they said they were fine with that, as long as I got to Margate by 4 o'clock, which was the deadline on the delivery. So I was a bit iffy about it, and these are the reasons why I didn't want to do it. Margate's a long way out of London on the wrong side of the country from me, and getting a job back from Margate I think would be almost impossible. The best I can hope for is something going into London. So if I got nothing else, it wouldn't be worth doing that job. Just even if I had the right money on it, because it's just, I mean, it's a long journey and it's taking me the wrong place. On the other side of the coin, decision-making coin, was two things really. The first was the ability to co-load, so that mitigated the cost element of going all that way and not getting a job back. And the second reason was it's been so quiet recently that really beggars can't be choosers. So it was a job that I could do, and it involved some risk, but it involved some possible upside. So you got to roll the dice and see what comes up. So I did accept it, and I went into it this morning with quite an optimistic attitude, because that's the only way I can really work in this job, usually. So I left the house at 8:20. I arrived at 9:30 at the pickup point in Corby. I then sat outside the pickup point and looked for jobs. And I thought I'd give myself an hour, and I felt that I had quite enough time. I checked that the time from where I was to Margate was just over 3 hours. So if I did nothing else and just went straight to Margate, I had until 12 o'clock. And it was sort of just gone 9:30. And I thought, if I get a co-load that's on the way, then really that shouldn't make much difference to my delivery time. So I put a few bids on, and at 10:15, so it took me 45 minutes, I won a bid. And it's picking up from Bedford, which was 37 miles away. And about an hour or so journey. And it was going to 2 stops, Aylesbury and somewhere near Slough. In the end, it was very close to, I might say it's wrong, Beaconsfield or Beacon. I want to say Beaconsfield, but I think it's Beaconsfield. So off the M40, it's very close to there. Both places were like villages rather than in towns. And so that was for a small van job, and it was 75 loaded miles, and it was basically more or less a direct route from Corby to Margate. It wasn't quite direct. Bit of a diversion around the south of London rather than going to the north of London, but it was not going to take me too far out of my way. So I put £80 on that, 80, and I got that job. And so it was really simple, just picking up 2 laptops to take back to customers at their homes. So I arrived at the pickup point. I couldn't at first find where I was meant to go. I had to use Google Maps to check, and there was one building that had no labels on, and that was the only one that was left. So I tried that gate, they let me in, and as I came in I saw a liveried van with their name on it, so I knew it was in the right place. So I was in and out within 5 minutes, back on the road and on my way to a village outside of Aylesbury. I arrived at that point at just gone 20 past 12, and I was checking all the time how long would it take to get to Margate from here, and it was all still within sort of an hour to half an hour leeway. I thought an hour's good, but half an hour's a bit tight. So I went to the next stop. It was in a village just off the M40. I finished that stop at 1:20. So that job took me exactly 2 hours to do, Bedford to Aylesbury to Slough, and that's what I'd guessed it would be when I was sort of guessing about accepting it. Because I thought 2 hours there, 2 hours to Margate from Slough, should be alright. And so it was now 20 past 1, all potted off. I made my way across back onto the M40, M25, around the southern part of London, onto, I think it was the M2, out into Kent. And my map was showing me 2.25 hours. So that would have been around about 3:30. And I thought that's probably a bit tight now. I've only got half an hour spare, and if I have traffic, I might not get there in time for 4 o'clock. But it was the right side of tight. It wasn't like I was having to rush everywhere at manic speed to try and keep up. I was going at a normal pace, taking things steady, but just not stopping too much. And so I made my way towards Margate. About halfway along the M2 section, there was some congestion. I was static for about 5-10 minutes, and then by the time I got through that onto the final sort of A road into Margate, it was saying that my ETA was 3:45, and that's what I ended up doing, which was very fortunate, because a quarter of an hour is not really enough time to have spare for that sort of length of journey from Corby to Margate. But it was on the right side of close, got it delivered straight away. Then I just immediately turned. Well, I didn't turn around. I went round the one-way system I was on, back the way it came, looking for jobs on the way back. Now this was about once someone sort of got out of Margate, was heading along the A road out. I was thinking that it's probably unlikely I'll get a job, but I've still got an hour, and the closer I get to London, the more chance I've got of getting something. And there was a job from Ashford going sort of somewhere near South London, which I didn't get. And there was a job going from Southend-on-Sea, but when I looked at my ETA, although it looks quite quick on the map, it would have been about an hour and a quarter, and I was never would have made it in time. And that one was going to Derby, which would have been fantastic for me. So I kept driving, I kept looking for jobs. The odd job came up that was on my route, sort of on the way to London. I bid on them, but didn't get them. There's some, as is always the way, there's some great jobs for the morning from close, long distance jobs from close to where I live. But I can't work tomorrow, so that was very disappointing. So in the end, I got myself to London by 5 o'clock. Just to the south part of the Dartford Bridge, or the Dartford Tunnel in my case. I got through the Dartford Tunnel with not too much issue this time. It was the usual heavy traffic, but it wasn't. It was moving. It was quite, and I've learned a lesson about the Dartford Tunnel. I always tend to go when I'm driving. I always tend to go in the first lane, the left-hand lane. But I've worked out that there's 4 lanes going into the tunnel, and the 2 on the right flow much quicker than the 2 on the left. And so today I went into the 3rd lane, and that was a much easier trip through the tunnel. So I must remember that for next time. And then the only other thing to say really is that tomorrow morning my van's having a mini service. It's having an oil change, filters and oils, and it needs probably some new brake pads. I keep getting a brake pad warning the last 2 days, so that will happen tomorrow. And that's my kind of getting ready for winter service. My tyres are fine. I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but I moved the tyres from the back to the front and vice versa, and so they've all got pretty even wear now, and they're all legal and they're all fine. So they've lasted me quite well. And then the last thing to say really is my stats for today, which I have made some money over and above my business expenses. I'm going to let this ambulance come past me. It's undertaking me. I was going to go in there. Right, there you go. So I have made some money, or rather just covering business expenses. But it's not been a great day again. This week is going to be quite a struggle to make as much as I made last week, and that was only £505 after fuel. So here they are, 13.62 pence per mile is my fuel cost. 448 miles my total miles travelled today. I've worked for 11.5 hours. I've earned £240, 240 from 2 CX jobs. The one I looked at the wrong page. Yeah, so there was the 160 and the 80. And then I've spent £61 and a couple of pence on fuel. So take off £61, that's £179 I've made today, 179 after fuel. And one last little bit of coincidence, the number of miles from Margate to my home was 179. So I was thinking, well, that means for every mile I get closer to home, I'm making £1. Obviously that's nonsense, but that's what I said to myself. So I've got I've driven for 96 miles, so I've made £96. Right, anyway, so I'm going to be back on the road on Friday. I hope it's a better day on Friday. It's good. It really is really tough at the moment on the road. I was thinking about the analogy of DEFCON, sort of defence readiness condition that the American military have. DEFCON 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I would describe this as feeling like DEFCON 2. It's not quite nuclear war, but it feels pretty close to it. It feels like we're about to go to war, conventional war, as in how tough it is to earn a living off the CX. So I'm officially announcing I'm at DEFCON 2 when it comes to my CX earnings. Right, thank you very much. look at this. It's a short one today. 15 minutes. Actually, oh no, I won't keep talking because I could go on for ages. I'll say what I was going to say in another video. So 15 minutes. So let me do my usual finish, whatever it's called. I might say run off. That doesn't sound right. So thank you very much for listening to my video. I really hope that you're having much better success than I'm having at the moment. However you choose to find that word for yourselves. Farewell, friends.